Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real, and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. A huge warm welcome to Lisa Byrne, an internationally award-winning marketer, course creator, podcaster, and mentor with over 21 years experience in marketing. Lisa teaches female product-based business owners how to focus on the right things instead of doing all the things, which I'm just loving because I'm so about that as well. Welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here talking brand. Oh, it's my favorite thing to talk about. You get to do it all day long. I do too, I guess.
Yeah, in a different kind of way. I'm already, Lisa and I were chatting prior to recording, and I'm already nerding out. I'm so excited to share her with you. But first of all, let's hear about you. Let's hear about Lisa. Tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a mum of two. They've grown so fast. I can't believe they're 7 and 5. I'm on the central coast of New South Wales after we did a sea change about 7 years ago.
Oh, nice.
I've been doing marketing literally since the day I left high school. So that's why I've racked up so many years. I think it's more like 22 years now, which is insane. I started my career as in marketing, obviously, but in TV. So very, very different landscape. Yeah. So I started in kids TV, actually radio before that, and then moved to like SBS and BBC in London and Fox 8 and Arena here in Australia. So I've worked on some really big brands with big budgets, and you learn a lot. And then after I had my first baby, I knew like so many mums, I think I'm preaching to the choir here, that, realize you can't maintain that level of like corporate steam if you still want to be like a mum that isn't super, super stressed out. So, with some prodding from my partner and a friend who'd also just had a baby and she had a business, I was like, hang on a second, I can do this. So yeah, I started my business when I had 2 under 2, which was not recommendable, but
Because why not?
so why not? But to be honest, I hear from so many women with product-based businesses that are like, I had a baby, so I decided to start a business. It just, there's something happens in that 4th trimester or even in the first year that women have this spark of creativity, or they see the world in a completely different light and the values change. So anyway, that's kind of what happened with me. And I fell into e-commerce because I love products. And back in 2017, more women were starting their businesses. There was a boom in service-based businesses, but slowly, and I was probably the first in Australia to work with e-commerce, but slowly there was more e-commerce businesses being launched. And then we had the explosion of COVID, early 2020, where everybody started not only shopping online, but starting businesses because they wanted to work from home.
Yeah.
So I've been riding this wonderful wave of e-commerce growth and helping female founders specifically in the first like 0 to 10 years of their business. And I help them focus on their brand and marketing foundations, which I'm really big on. If anyone's heard me babble on about anything, they've probably heard me talk about foundations and focusing on a very small collection of things with their marketing, and also organic marketing. So I don't touch paid advertising. I leave that to the experts. But yeah, I focus on helping women get results by working less and ideally not spending all their cash on ads before they're ready.
Yeah. So building the brand. is a huge.
Building the brand, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the brand changes, and what we refer to brand and branding changes as your business grows. Like, at the very start, you might just DIY your brand, and that's totally okay. And in a couple of years, you might refresh again and change direction, and that's totally okay too. The visual part of it for me is almost the end step, whereas it's the yeah it's the nitty gritty, and like the direction and the positioning and the why and the thought
Mm.
and the vision. That is the hard stuff that
Yeah.
I think, and you would know this, that many women leapfrog because it is hard, and they
Yeah.
want to go into the pretty stuff, and the pretty stuff is fun and creative, and women are amazingly creative creatures.
Yeah.
um, but the thinking and the, okay, why am I doing this? What do I want to be in the world? Who am I serving?
Mm.
What are my values? What am I not as well? We
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be everything. So all that stuff is what I refer to as the brand foundations. And
Yeah.
in my course and in my work with women, I spend a lot of time there. And you may be $1 million business, or you may be a $1,000 a month business. You've still got to refine and define those foundations over and over again. It's not a one and done thing either.
Yeah. And do you think that a lot of women skip over that part simply because it's hard because they don't know the right questions to ask themselves?
Totally, totally. It is hard. Um, And that's exactly it. They don't know the questions to ask themselves. And when they do have the questions, they always have the answers within, which is this crazy thing. We just aren't listening to our true instinct and desires and the change that we want to be, because people think, well, I can't say that because that's just way too bold, or I'm
Mm.
not an expert in clothing design, so I can't say this or that. There's a lot of reasons why we do skip that, because it's hard and we haven't done it before. We're not trusting what we really want to say, and
Mm.
we don't believe in ourselves because we've been conditioned not to, like, be loud and be bold and be confident. We're just not. That's what men are really good at. Women are more quiet and more reserved, and that comes out in our businesses. All that kind of like invisible barriers, that's coming out in all of our work. And like I said before, it's whether you're at day dot or you're 7 years down the track, you still have all this stuff that you need to work through for yourself as the founder, but also for your brand.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a rinse and repeat process, isn't it? Like this process of branding, say, let's call it brand foundations.
Mm-hmm.
So important to do it initially because then you've got like the baseline, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
what happens in a couple of years' time when your business is evolving, you're adding different products or services,
Yeah.
whatever. And then all of a sudden, like I've seen it so many times because I work a lot with clients who are rebranding, who are sort of in
Yeah.
that next phase. To go through that process again is just even more clarifying. And it's like, it just prepares your business for that next transition, like for that next stage of growth. Do you agree?
Yeah, totally. And there's no shame in changing direction either. Like, I
Yeah.
feel that's one thing that as a coach I have to sort of give permission to do, is like, well, that sometimes when we get stuck in our business or it becomes stagnant, it's a reflection on how we actually feel about what we're doing. Like, it may not be aligned with you anymore. Maybe you don't want to sell baby products anymore. Maybe you want to shift towards something else. Like, you don't have to hold on to what you've got
Mm.
to move forward. You can change.
Yeah.
But yes, the whole rebranding process, yeah, I mean, what would you say? It's probably like a 2-year thing, maybe a 3-year thing, not like a complete rebrand, but I find most clients are like, okay, I've got itchy feet,
Yes.
something needs to
Yes.
change. And like, I often push back. I was like, okay, are we rebrand? Do you want to rebrand because you're bored,
Mm.
or you think you need to change things, or is it a true need right now?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you see this, but and my coach as well, she talks about, it's like, when things get too easy or too comfortable, we want to burn it down. Like,
Yes. We make it
Yeah, it's
hard
like,
for ourselves. It's like we feel like things should be challenging all the time. Yeah.
yes, yes. Well, that's probably where you're just finding your groove, is when things do feel easy and natural. So
Mm.
maybe you don't need that rebrand. But yeah, no, it's an interesting thing. Brand brings up so much stuff.
Yeah, and I didn't even mean the conversation to flow this way, but it just naturally did.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
I think, yeah, it's entwined.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, and I know that, I mean, I'm in branding, I'm immersed in it every day, but for me, like, your brand is everything. It governs everything that you do in your marketing, and it's such a like important guide. It's like this inner light of your whole business. And if it's not shining properly, or if it's in misalignment, or the light bulb socket's not quite in properly,
Mm,
impact all those messages that you're putting out through your marketing channels, right?
yeah,
That's
totally.
why
Yeah.
I love it. That's why I think it's so important. But
Yes.
I would love to know, just backtracking a little bit about you. I would love to know why
Mm.
you chose e-commerce, because clearly you have this like incredible wealth of experience. You could have done anything really. You show any topic. Sounds like you've had, done lots of things, which is amazing and exciting. So why was it e-commerce?
Oh, look, I tried on, like, in air quotations, I tried on different niches when I first started my business. Like, I did work with services for a little while. It
Hmm.
just didn't light me up.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was a lot of people working in services, and I kept on having conversations, many conversations in real life, like with women in my local area that had homewares business, fashion businesses,
Hmm.
handbag businesses. They kept on coming into my orbit. I worked with a few product-based businesses online, and I just loved it.
Yeah.
And no one was catering to these women. They were joining courses and listening to podcasts that was geared towards service-based businesses, and,
Hmm.
and that just, it's a completely different kettle of fish. So yeah, I fell into it naturally, but also very intentionally, that I wanted to take my big brand thinking and wrap it up and give it in a simple way to women that have in the first few years of their businesses, that with no experience of marketing, that weren't being catered to.
Hmm.
So that's kind of where it started, and now it's probably a different kettle of fish, because there's more people catering to e-commerce businesses, which is great. And also that there's more women with e-commerce businesses. So it's an exciting category to be in.
Yeah, I feel like we're living in a really exciting time just for women in general, particularly
Yeah.
in our country. So much to be
Yes.
grateful for. And I just feel like we have this opportunity to really, yeah, to just pave a new way forward of how motherhood and business can look, because it's not really been defined yet. And I'm really excited by that. And I'm excited to always, chat with people like yourself who sort of had a similar journey and find I guess, a renewed inspiration in that, because you're not
Yeah.
doing it alone. There's lots of other women who are doing similar things, feeling maybe like a little bit off kilter because none of their friends are doing it, but there are so many of us, and it's so exciting. So give us a little snapshot about what it looked like to start this coaching business with two under two. Guess
Oh
because
gosh.
reality is often different. You're how many years into your business?
Oh, I probably 6 now.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm sort of heading into six as well. I did I had a freelance graphic design business before I had my kids, so I was working at home already. I'd sort of like said goodbye to the corporate world fairly quickly
Good.
after finishing it.
Smart.
Like, okay, bye, that's not for me. But it
Yeah.
worked really anyway. So this iteration is 5 years, and it looks so different to when I started. Like, I've got 4 kids. My
You've
youngest
got
has just
4
started,
kids.
yeah, and my littlest one is
I
2. So it was a lot, like, but it was a slow, like it started slow. So I would like to sort of just, you know, just that whole comparisonitis of when you're
Oh
starting
yeah.
out thinking that you have to be, so far ahead to be competing in a market, but you don't. You just have to start where you are. So I'd love to hear how it worked for you. How did you make it work as a young mum.
Yes. And first of all, 4 kids, honestly, hats off to you. Like that is so impressive. I don't know how
Wow,
you do
thank
it.
you. They're
Oh
beautiful.
my goodness. Two is more than enough for me. So yeah, I mean, I started and I got a coach straight away. So I
Ooh.
definitely invested in myself and my growth way before I was ready, like
Yeah.
way before,
Mm.
because I knew that I was undercharging, over delivering, and I wasn't in my genius. Like when I first started out, I started as social media, so doing social media
Oh,
content
okay. Yep.
like everybody else.
Yep.
But I knew I was so much more than that because my genius is strategy and direction and actually coaching.
Yeah.
So yeah, I invested in a coach straight off the bat, like when I was not earning very much at all. And she taught me so much about, self-worth, self-belief, finding your niche, sticking to one thing, getting really good at one thing, but also knowing your customer inside out. Like I did over like 100 interviews, 100 discovery calls, like 45-minute discovery calls with potential clients or potential target audiences, just to understand like what they were working on, what they were experiencing. And that taught me so much. And it was a slow process. So
Mm.
when you talk about like comparisonitis and thinking you need to be big and when you're not ready and
Mhm.
like it was unlearning all that masculine sort of energy that I'd been working in corporate world in, like get it fast, be successful, win the awards, be the best of the best. Like that's what the life I was living. And then she was really incredible in helping me unlearn all that and go slow,
Mm.
slow. And I am a big believer in slow and steady. Like having a stable business is very sexy.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be all guns blazing, highs and thrilling low, thrilling highs and big cash windfalls. Like actually, we want a nice, steady, stable, profitable business, one that feels good, one that allows us to be mum and be calm. And
Yeah.
being a calm business owner is also incredibly successful. Like it depends on what your level of success is, but so that's kind of how I started out. And I did maybe 3 or 4 years of one-on-one coaching, which was awesome because I got to work like literally in the back pocket of women with e-commerce businesses of all different shapes and sizes. So again, I learned so much about my target
Mm.
market, my customer profile. Like I literally know them inside out. And then I decided to create a course because I was having the same conversations over and over and over again. And I knew that I could take this, high value, high ticket coaching and put it into a course so more women could afford it because,
Yeah.
not everyone can work with a coach. And I wanted to help more women. So make more money basically.
Yeah.
And simplify that whole marketing process down because marketing can really derail people. Like derails their confidence,
Yeah.
comparisonitis, or whatever, however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Overthinking,
Yeah.
overworking, doing too much, trying to be all things to all people, spending money in the wrong areas, trusting the wrong people, spending money on the wrong thing at the wrong time. So it can derail your confidence, but it can also derail your business. So it's super important to get it right. And I wanted to help women do that.
Yeah. Because marketing is kind of like a tap, isn't it? You turn it off and all of a sudden the business dries up. So it's something that you always have to be investing in, whether it's time or money. But um, it's such a shock for new business owners, I think. Like they sort of, from my experience of working with people, they start their business for a particular reason, like to be at home with their kids, or they're crafty, or they've developed this amazing product that fills a need, and it's all about that. But then all of a sudden they start the business and it's like, oh,
Mm,
marketing.
yeah.
How do
Yeah,
I
it's
do that?
full
And it
on.
takes up so much time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for product-based businesses who have so many balls in the air. I noticed someone comment on one of my Facebook posts the other day saying, I didn't realize I had to be an entertainer as well as a business owner. And that's kind of the landscape that we're in, and it's only going to get more. So marketing is a non-negotiable. If you have a problem with it, if you hate it, you either have to overcome that mindset barrier and to learn to appreciate it, or you're going to have to spend the money to get someone else to do it for you. So it's an investment either way. You either invest your time and your energy, or you invest your money. You can't have a successful business without building a great brand, investing in that and the assets that come with that, and ongoing marketing. But there is ways that you can make it more simple and less daily grind. And that's what I love to do, help women step out of the daily grind and step into focused CEO mode.
Yes. Sustainability. That's what we want, isn't it? So I love this, how you talked about, like, I'm assuming that you are referring to entertainment as in social media, which has taken a massive turn in the last 2 years only.
Yes.
So let's go back further and think about how e-commerce marketing has evolved from its inception. Because I mean, go back to when I first started my business, and I talk about this a lot as a freelance designer. The first thing I did as a marketing exercise was I called the yellow pages. I put my business in the yellow pages, and I used to get work from that. Like, that's how long ago it was.
I love that.
And I know
that's
I'm
so
not
old
e-commerce,
school.
but that was like service-based. But for e-commerce, for commerce based, like product based, and then all of a sudden everything's coming online. Like, it was about that time that people were starting online stores. Not everyone had an online store, and if you had an online store, that was the thing that set you apart, that made you different. And all of a sudden, and COVID, blah blah blah, everything. So walk us through, I don't know, even just say the last 10 or 15 years since e-commerce started to really take off. How has marketing changed in that time?
Gosh, so much. I mean, going back to when I first started in the category, I guess you could say, it's when Instagram was super effective. Like, you'd start your account, post a couple of photos, and people would find you because more people were seeing the content. Then the algorithm changed, maybe like 2-3 years ago, and people were not being able to grow their Instagram account. Then the type of content has changed and continues to change and will continue to change. So that has been a huge shift in e-commerce marketing. The other biggie is obviously Facebook ads. So any business, whether you had a great product or not, a great brand or not, let's say 10, 8, 7 years ago, you could run Facebook ads and be incredibly successful. It was like a pokie machine. You put $2 in, you'd get $20 out. And then thanks to the iOS changes, that is no longer the case. But also, even before that happened, because there was more brands spending more money, ads got trickier and more expensive. The way that Facebook ads were even set up changed. So businesses have had to adapt to those biggies. COVID has introduced it's flooded every category with more brands. Amazon has taken a huge chunk out of the international and the US market, like especially if you're a brand in the US. Amazon is killing small businesses. Kmart has changed. Kmart copies small businesses. You have to, like, as my friend Kate Toon said once when I interviewed her in a podcast, she said, give me a reason why I shouldn't buy it from Kmart. That's what brands need to think. If you can get it there, you've really got to look at your brand, your point of difference, your quality, your process, your values, your personality. So the landscape has changed. The way we interact with our audience has changed. Our ability to get in front of audiences has changed. So what has worked 3, 4, 5 years ago is not going to work today.
Mm-hmm.
That's not saying that you can't find what is going to work. You just need to be focused on your marketing and try things out, get support, get help, get direction, and stay consistent.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And that's only the last few years. Like, that's insane.
Oh,
And I'm just sitting
yeah.
here thinking of all the, all the things that I've faced as well. Like, as a service-based business owner,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like nodding, going, yeah, 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 yeah. Things
Mm-hmm.
that coaches, if your coach is not up to date and they're telling you or coaching you through strategies that were working a couple of years ago for them and they had a great result, and you try it for your business now, it's not working the same. So I think,
No.
your point of being in touch and engaging with someone like yourself who is all over this stuff and can actually help you move forward rather than look backwards for strategy, I
Yeah.
think it's key to success. So looking to the
Yes.
future, I know that a lot of our
Mm-hmm.
ladies are starting to think about next year, and they've had some challenges this year and whatever else, starting to think of new strategies to implement. I would love to hear Lisa Byrne's top trends for e-commerce marketing in 2023.
Oh, you're getting me here. I probably need to do a
Hyped it up.
podcast episode on this. Yeah. So I am all about nailing the basics.
Mhm.
Like, I think we're so trained to be on the hunt for the next new thing, like the next TikTok or the next whatever. But so often than not, I see businesses that haven't yet nailed the basics. So
Mm,
there's a collection of like non-negotiables or must-haves that I think you need to focus on first and foremost before you find the next shiny tactic. So for me, I would say in 2023, look at your brand, because we're here talking about brand.
yeah,
Let's start with that.
yeah.
Um, and your brand foundation. So your brand is one thing, also your website, and also your basic organic marketing. Okay, because we know Facebook ads are really difficult right now. Not all products are suited to Google ads.
Mm-hmm.
Influencers are a great way to work, but there's things like email marketing, SEO, website optimization, and video. Nail those basics first and foremost. So instead of looking to a new trend, I would say get in front of those things, and
Mm-hmm.
you will set yourself up for long-term success. With brand, I kind of call it the 5 V's. So because I'm sure you would know, when people think of brand strategy, it's easy to become overwhelmed and have no idea where to start. So if you simplify it down to your vision, values,
Mm-hmm.
your vibe, your visuals, and the fifth one that I've added recently, vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
because a good brand is about telling a story that someone, the masses, a real person, can connect to. And I think in 2023, if you don't know what you stand for and what you stand against, like your values and your beliefs for your brand, how you're showing up in the world, the change you want to be in the world, and if you aren't communicating that on a human to human level, and that's the vulnerability factor, then you are just going to get lost in the sea of sameness.
Mm-hmm.
Because whether you're selling candles or cups or skincare, like fashion, everything is pretty much similar,
Yeah.
you know to be brutal. The thing that is going to separate you is how you do it, why you do it, and the community that you're bringing together, and the story that you're telling together. So that is my 2023 prediction and recommendations.
I love it. I love that so much. I love that you didn't like dive into like TikTok or Snapchat or something.
Yeah.
Because yeah, because you're right. If your foundations aren't set in place and you're doing all of these things, then it's not, and you're sending them somewhere that's not, aligned, or it's, the customer journey is messed up, then there's no point in
Yeah,
investing that time in new marketing channels or whatever. So I love that for
exactly.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I could say, go and spend every day doing a TikTok.
Mm.
But if the people that you find on TikTok are coming to your website, maybe they're all based in the US and they're not going to buy from you because you don't ship to the US or you can't afford to ship to the US, then that strategy was a waste of time.
Yeah.
So, but going back to basics in e-commerce, particularly, if you want to figure out where to invest your time and effort, your brand, or those things that I went through, your website. So making sure it's a wonderful, wonderful website,
Yeah.
copy, imagery, and strategy. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, pleasure.
So what's next? What's next for you?
Oh, good question. Well, I'm going to be hosting some free marketing masterclasses. Last year I did it. I wasn't going to do it again this year. And then this morning I thought, you know what? I've got some free time. I should probably do that again.
I love that. Beautiful.
Oh, you fill the gaps, even though you shouldn't be filling the gaps. But yeah, I did it last year. They're called Stellar Seller Summer Sessions. And they're free masterclasses that e-commerce brands can turn up to and learn something game-changing for their business. And they're all about the basics, nailing the basics. And then I've got my big baby, my Ecom Grow Strong 12-week course. So that's coming back in February in 2023. So yeah, I have to get cracking on getting that out there and finding some fabulous people to come join me there.
Exciting. Well, head on over to Lisa Byrne's website right now and get yourself on the wait list for her course. I have got clients who have done it and it sounds amazing. So
fabulous. I'll have to get you to come in and be a guest expert.
I'd love to do that. Yeah, that'd be amazing. I have got some fun rapid fire questions just to wrap up.
Okay.
So just prepare.
Okay, I'm ready. Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask what your favorite is. I'm going to say a word and it's just the first thing that pops into your mind. Okay.
Okay.
So what's your favorite app?
Oh, geez. Do you know how many apps I use? Okay. I will say Asana.
Asana. Yeah, right. Cool.
Yeah.
Organized. All right. Favorite time of day?
Morning.
Is that because it's most productive or?
Yes, most productive, creative, and come 5 o'clock, I turn into a zombie.
Yep. I can relate. Okay, favorite exercise?
Oh, weights. I like to lift heavy weights.
Ooh.
I'm strong.
Surprise. Didn't expect that one. Okay, habit.
Oh, okay. I'm going to talk a new habit. I've just bought some beautiful meditation cushions and a sound bowl. So I'm now into meditating.
That sounds lovely.
I'm trying anyway.
Okay, well, this kind of relates to the next question. Favorite way to relax?
Oh, walking on the beach. Yeah, going down the beach with my family and my doggy. Absolutely.
All right, last one. Your favorite thing about your business?
The women I get to work with. They're just epic. Epic women. Yes.
So lovely. Well, Lisa, I just want to say a huge heartfelt thank you so much for, spending this time with me and sharing so much of your wisdom and your journey with our listeners. Where can we find you?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. You can find me on Instagram at Lisa Byrne Marketing, or that's where I hang out mostly. And slide into my DMs, talk to me there. Or I also have a podcast called E-commerce Marketing Society, and I'll have to get you on there too.
I'd love that as well. Sounds amazing. So go check out Lisa, say hi, especially if you are an e-commerce business. She is amazing. And, especially if you are building a business, to facilitate a lifestyle and not to please the masses or what society believes you should be doing. She's such an advocate for that. And absolutely. I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this week's episode of Brand Lover, take a screenshot of wherever you're listening and share your biggest takeaway on Instagram or Facebook. And don't forget to tag me. I'd love to give you a shout out and thank you personally. Also, feel free to subscribe and leave a review to help the Brand Lover podcast reach more heart-aligned entrepreneurs just like yourself. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.